Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday to you. Another day here to check in together, this midweek check-in we call Coffee with PC. I have got my cup of coffee. I actually got an old favorite, Gallant Roast from Jay Brooks, the coffee roasters in Memphis, that somebody out of the blue from watching one of these sent me a sample of, and I loved it, but I sort of drank too much of it right at first. Bought big bags of it because I enjoyed it so much, and probably got a little tired of it and said, oh, I want to try something different. I've had too much of that, but after a while, ordered it with the last batch, just a smaller bag, and boy, am I remembering why I enjoyed it so much. So I'm having my cup this morning as the day here is, the morning's half through and the day is on its way. Just wanted to touch base with a couple of things with you. First off, just because it's been on my mind and it's hard not to be, is the continuing efforts related to the recovery from Hurricane Ian. You know, we mentioned last week as the storm was kind of doing its thing a week ago. Just been a week, right? So much seems to have happened, and the sad thing is sometimes the attention span is so short that a lot of us, we just move on to the next thing, whether it's because the news cycle isn't covering it anymore, or whatever the case may be. But certainly we haven't personally forgotten that. We actually, Denise had the great idea. She pulls up Fort Myers news channels, West Coast news channels, to see just a reminder of what's going on there. We've got several people that we're checking in with. I mentioned Sunday, the church that we took kids and youth to retreats on, checking in on them and some other places over there. So and some people that have moved over there. So it's just heartbreaking to see what's happening. I want to give you an update because we mentioned how you could help through our disaster relief efforts, our Baptist disaster relief efforts. Let me just tell you what's happening right now. There are 19 disaster relief units in Southwest Florida, particularly. There's 9 that are just feeding. That's what they do. They're cooking meals, tens of thousands of meals, 9 different units set up. And then there's 10 units that are cleanup, whether it's chainsaw or muck out or whatever, roofing, any of that sort of thing. Families that need help, houses that have damage, they go in and they help them do it. So 19 Baptist units. There are 8 of them in Lee County. There are 2 in Charlotte County, 2 in Sarasota County, 2 in Collier County. There's 1 of each in DeSoto County, and there's 1 in Hardee County. So that's 1, 2, 3. That's 6 different counties on the southwest area of Florida. 19 disaster relief units. Now I know there are other organizations that are there. I know, Red Cross, obviously, Samaritan's Purse is responding, but I'm just really amazed at what we're doing through our Baptist disaster relief response. It's going full force. Those volunteers are there, those units are there, and it's amazing. So let me tell you, in case you're wondering how you can help, certainly I want to keep that in front of you, at least for the short term. If you give anything through our church for Hurricane Ian relief, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do with it. We're going to forward it to our Baptist disaster relief folks. That's what we're going to do. We're going to move it from our account into their account. That's what they buy the food with. That's what they buy the supplies with, whether it be the chemicals they need to clean up, tarps, all that stuff. They need that on site to help. So we're gonna send everything straight to them. If you want to bypass us and give directly to those disaster relief efforts, you can do that through our state convention. It's an online giving. Our church has online giving. It has Hurricane Ian relief. You can give directly to our state convention, Florida Baptist Convention, the website flbaptist.org/dr-give. So DR, disaster relief-give. Or you just go to the flbaptist.org homepage and you can find some links right on the front page. If you want to give directly to them, you can. If you give to us, we're going to forward it to them, to those 19 units that are there right now. Also, our state convention staff, most of them are over there. Dr. Green, our executive director treasurer, and he's going church to church practically. I remember when Irma came through here, I guess it's 5 years ago now, Dr. Green went through the Keys and he stopped by every church in the Keys, all of our Baptist churches. He's probably doing the same thing up there in all of those places, seeing firsthand the damage, talking, encouraging the pastors and bringing to bear some of the resources we have through our convention, not just disaster relief, but we do things like they do disaster relief grants to particular churches. Let's say a church is like, okay, we have a $25,000 deductible. Well, our convention often will help by making grants to them to help them pay that deductible so they can get the wheels turning on insurance claims. And if they're able to already, if there's power and they rebuild. They also, so there's a lot of things that they do. So our convention staff is there doing those things. Our DR units are there doing those things. If you want to help personally, like let's say you say, I would like to go and help. Well, there's a way you can volunteer in one of these disaster relief settings. You go to our same website, flbaptist.org, and it's DR, again, disaster relief -volunteer. And there is a section that's called a day volunteer. And so you click on day volunteer and it'll show you through that link how you personally could go to one of those areas and help volunteer. Now, I know to be like a full-time disaster relief volunteer, there's a whole lot of training that goes in. So you just can't go over there and, there's crews that are there a couple weeks at a time, sleeping over there, working all day long. They have gone through an extensive training. You can't go to that level, but you can go help on a day-to-day basis. Again, that flbaptist.org/dr-volunteer. You can learn how you can be a day volunteer to go over there and some of the things that you could, if that's your desire. If it's to give, you can give funds. If it's to serve, you can go over there and do those sorts of things. Check in with that website first so they know you're coming and kind of send you to the right place. And not to leave it for last. We say we leave the best for last, and this is very much the case. We can pray. We prayed last Wednesday together for those in the path of the storm, and we need to continue to pray for that. Those churches that are there, yes, many of them have sustained catastrophic damage, almost total losses, but that doesn't mean they're not still ministering. I read of many churches, in spite of that were no power, damage to their facilities, whatever the list of things, still flooded in parts of their community, they are having services. It might be sort of under a tent or bring your chair and we'll meet early before the sun gets too hot, whatever it is. They're still out there doing what they're doing, in spite of also having to deal with their own loss, their own home, their own damage, all of that. So pray for those that are affected by the storm. Pray for the other believers and churches that are over there that are continuing to minister to people that, when sometimes it's in your worst moments where you're most receptive to the kindness of a believer, a Christian, and to the gospel message, the witness of the gospel. And so this is potentially, in the midst of great devastation, an opportunity of witness in practical ways, the helping ministries, the tangible things, and the spiritual reality of seeing. As I said last week, that it takes something like this to make us realize we are not in control as much as we think we are. We don't have our little world all together. It doesn't take much to totally rip the rug out from under us. And in the midst of these situations, pray for those affected. Pray for those churches ministering in those communities and for their long-term health and restoration. Pray for our disaster relief volunteers, all of that this whole process of rebuilding will not just be physical rebuilding, but spiritually rebuilding in the lives and in the communities that were affected. So wanted to kind of bring you up to speed on that and ask you not to forget, not to just turn the page, not to move on to the next thing. There's always the next thing in our own lives. We kind of are fortunate. We kind of go, we dodged that one. Yes, we did. I know there's a little bit of damage in places in the Keys. Yes, still flooding. I've talked to some of our pastors on Monday down here, the further south, church members' homes flooded and all that sort of thing. Not quite to the severity of Fort Myers. We kind of breathe a sigh of relief, but the body of Christ is the church universal. All of us are in this together, and we have a part to play in supporting and in coming alongside these, whether it's through prayer, whether it's through financial giving, or whether it's through physically volunteering by going and helping in those communities. So wanted to kind of give you that update. Second part of today's Coffee with PC is a bit of a commercial. I took a break. We finished, at the end of August, we finished our Journey Through the Hebrew Bible, our Wednesday night Old Testament Journey Through the Hebrew Bible study. It was personally one of the most rewarding things I've ever done, the most rewarding studies I've ever had to be a part. I learned so much. It just reignited in me a passion for the Hebrew Bible and for the history of the people of Israel and for what God had done in those times. And it just also just brought kind of these light bulbs went off as I went through and studied of things in the New Testament, in the life and ministry of Jesus in the early church, even things we're talking about on Sundays in Acts. And so one of the most personally rewarding things. So I want to take the next study, and it's sort of going to be a similar idea just with the New Testament. So we've looked at the Hebrew Bible. We've set it all up. We've gone from creation to the monarch, to the judges, to the monarchy, to the exile, to the return. And so the next series I want to look at what happens next. And so we're going to start that next Wednesday, not tonight, next Wednesday. We'll start that. I don't have a title for it yet. Hopefully by Sunday I'll have something for it, but I would encourage you, if you want to go through that process with us. We'll talk about canonicity. Why are the books of the Bible the books of the Bible? Why do we have them? We'll talk about the text of the Bible. There's a lot of interesting things that have to do with the Greek and Hebrew text that we have that are the basis of our English translations of the Bible. We'll talk about why are there so many English translations and why are they kind of different at places. We'll cover that. We'll talk about the intertestamental period, and that'll just be the first couple of weeks before we get into the text itself of the New Testament. So that's the next Wednesday night study. We'll be in person Wednesday nights at 6. We'll stream it as well through Zoom, and just like we did with the Hebrew Bible, I'll record it and post it through our website. So if you're not able to be there live, you can watch it later. So that's next. We are going to meet tonight, by the way. I am going to do a study night. It's going to be a bit of a grab bag of some things that. So I guess honestly, there's been some things happening. I have in my sermon notes. I usually have a section of them. It's like things that seem to relate to what I'm saying, but are extra. So if in the moment it seems like this is the perfect time to bring them up, I bring them up. But sometimes I never get to them, and so they just kind of roll over week to week, or after a while they go away. So I'm going to bring back some of those things I've been kind of percolating in my mind as we've finished up these last few chapters of Acts. We still have a few chapters to go. We're in the Acts 22 this week, but I'm going to put it's kind of a grab bag. It'll be a little hit and miss. It won't be sort of an organized study. That's tonight, 6 o'clock. Zoom. If you want information on either tonight's study or the study that begins next week, where we talk about the text of the New Testament and the New Testament itself, just drop me a line. I'll put my email link with this video, and you can send it to me, and I'll make sure you get the Zoom information. We don't publish the Zoom information broadly. It's kind of as you ask for it. So if you want to know the Zoom information, because you can't be here in person, about tonight's study, it'll be the same tonight, next week, and on. It'll be a recurring meeting. So you don't have to ask every week. If you get it once, you'll have it. But that's what I'm going to do tonight, and then start next week. That I'm kind of excited about. At least the first few weeks, I've got those outlined in my head, and so I'll get to those, like I said, next week. But love to have you join us for that. By the way, all the Hebrew Bible study is up online. There were 40 sessions in that. If you go, they're all on YouTube. I'll try to. We were trying to keep up with them on our website. I've fallen a little behind with that, so I'll try to update that as well. But it's a playlist on YouTube, Journey Through the Hebrew Bible for my church or my channel, our church channel, however you want to look at it. You can see them all in there, session 1 to session 40, if you want to go back over that or look at any one in particular. And then next week, we'll start the New Testament tonight at 6. We'll do a grab bag. Sunday, Acts 22. Lots going on. And don't forget, again, this continuing need in Southwest Florida in relation to Hurricane Ian. All right, I think I've talked pretty fast here for the last couple of minutes, so I'm going to let you go. Thanks for tuning in for a few minutes with me this morning. Hope you have a great Wednesday, and maybe I'll see you tonight, or maybe I'll see you online, or maybe Sunday as we worship together and study together. See you later, everybody.